Salamba, this very wonderful Friday, dear listener, the 28th day of August, the year of our Lord 2020. As well as giving thanks to God that He's always good to us, taking care of us, dear listener, and ensuring that we are well. No matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, I believe that we are in the hands of God and that all things will work together for good for all of us who are called according to His purpose. And dear listener, this wonderful day, I am talking about matters, relationships, as always, and I'm talking about signs that communication is a problem in your relationship. Signs that communication is a problem in your relationship. Remember that the general assumption, and I say this because I see very many couples in a week. In a week in my office, I can see about maybe 30 to 40 couples. And the underlying issue, you hear people saying that, Victor, we have a communication problem. You ask any couple, what is the problem? Well, it is communication. What is the problem? It is communication. And, whenever you have a parent coming in because of a child, you'll hear the parent saying, I have a communication problem with my child. It seems like we just can't seem to communicate, And in any relationship setup, when communication is the problem, my dear friends, the reality is that there is something else. Communication is never really the problem in any relationship. Actually, communication is a fruit. It is a fruit. When there's a communication breakdown, then there's an underlying issue that has not been looked at. There is something else you are saying. There's something else that is being complained about. And many times people focus on that we are not talking well, but the issue that what is it that is behind how we communicate? Why are we saying that we have a communication problem? So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a list of a few things you can look at that can point you towards a direction that you may know that if I am in a relationship with anyone and these are the things that are happening, then automatically there's a problem with communication, meaning we have an underlying issue. I'll also try and mention a bit of the underlying issues, but that will point you to the right direction. Think that, okay, I think that because I talk this way to my spouse, then we have a communication problem. Because one thing I'll tell you for a fact is that every human being assumes one thing. We all assume that we are good communicators. All of us assume that. And in reality, we are actually not good communicators. You actually work to communicate better. All of us think we are good communicators. That's a fact. Everyone thinks that. You'll hear someone saying, I don't think I'm unreasonable. You'll hear someone saying, I don't think I'm difficult to talk to. You'll hear someone saying, why couldn't you just tell me? Why couldn't you just ask me? Why? You're coming from the assumption that you are an easy person to communicate to, or you're a good communicator. Yet in reality, the things I'll mention here will show you that actually maybe you're not. In fact, no one say this, that whenever you're in a relationship with anyone, begin from the standpoint of, I am a poor communicator working towards being a better communicator. That's the bottom line. Always start from there, that I'm a bad listener working towards being a better listener. When I have that mindset when I'm dealing with my wife, I can listen more. If I have that mindset dealing with my wife, I can talk to her better. I can talk to my children better. I can talk to my colleagues better because I'm understanding I'm not a good communicator. But the assumption is we think we are the best. And whenever you think you're the best in communication, dear listener, you always miscommunicate. And when you miscommunicate, people don't understand you. And when they don't understand you, you end up having what we call a misunderstanding. So, what are the things you can look at? One is when often you can't find the right words to express what you want to say. When you find yourself in a relationship with someone and you often can't seem to find the right words to express what you want to say. In other words, what is in your mind cannot come out through your mouth. Because there's a battle between your mind and your mouth. Because you have a sort of fear that I might say the wrong thing. They might misunderstand me. They won't get what I'm saying. They never understand me. There are battles you go through within your mind. But in my mind, I'm thinking of telling you how I feel, but I don't have the right words to say because I'm coming from a place where I think that you won't get it. This points to the fact that you feel misunderstood in that relationship. And that when you speak, the one who listens, dear listener, does not have the capacity to understand you at all. Therefore, it's good to examine something in this case. Examine what I call the emotional safety of the relationship. Because the relationship has got three emotional dynamics. We have got emotional space, dear listener. We have got emotional climate and emotional safety. So three different emotional areas to look at in any relationship that you're in. The emotional space. Emotional space is the mutual space that people in our relationship share emotionally. Then there's emotional safety, which is I have the freedom to speak my mind and not think you will judge me. I have the freedom to complain in my relationship and not feel judged. I can say what I feel and how I feel, and I'm still safe. That's emotional safety. Then there's emotional climate. Emotional climate is actually what an individual feels or what they generate from themselves inwardly. Now that one influences the emotional space. Emotional climate is personal, but can influence emotional space. Those are the three things. So it is important to note that if I can't find the right words to say, then automatically it means this. But I don't trust you with my words. I don't trust you with my vulnerability. I don't think you'll understand me. There's a communication problem. Number two, when you don't look forward to talking to your partner. Hey, hapa ndio kuna kazi. When you don't look forward to talking to your partner, this is when you'd rather wake up at night and clean the roof than talk to your partner. You'd rather find a project. This is when you put people together and they just have nothing to say, and it is actually laborious. Your head begins to work because talking to your partner is work. It's not a free flowing conversation. This one many times happens when we feel as though we are not accepted the way that we are. When you feel like your partner can't accept you the way you are, or a child feels my parents don't take me the way that I am, you want them to be in a particular way, it begins to become work. This happens when people don't feel secure, or rather when they feel unaccepted in their state. You know? And also, my dear friends, it can also be pointed to emotional divorce. That something has happened and that the two of you have actually gone separate places. Ni vile bado hamjapata message. But you have moved separately. I no longer talk to you, and you no longer talk to we no longer share the same common space for conversation. This is very common, you know. This can also be a product of silent resentment, you know, whereby tulikosana last week and I just don't want to talk to you, you know. Tulikosana last year, I don't want to talk to you. The silent resentment. And in the silent resentment, it means that either something was done and was never dealt with. Something was done to you or happened in the relationship and was never dealt with, dear listener. And that is very dangerous. Because when I say, if you're in a relationship with someone and you don't look forward to talking to them, it means it has become work. It means it has become work. It means in your mind you think, talking to my spouse is work. They want me to talk to them the way they want to be talked to, meaning I don't have the freedom to be myself. Or number two, we have silent resentment. Or three, there's emotional divorce. Those are the three things, dear listener, that will make it you not look forward to talking to your partner. If you find you don't feel like talking to your partner in any single case, that is the point. When I come back from this break, I will look at the remaining points, dear listener. Stay tuned to 88.3 FM. This is Waumini Soul Food. Dear listener, welcome back to 88.3 FM. This is Waumini Soul Food, and I'm Victor Salamba. This very wonderful Friday, listener. I'm talking about signs that communication is a problem in your relationship. Signs that communication is a problem in your relationship. Number three, my personal favorite. When you tend to use words like this, you always, you know, or you never. You always or you never. In other words, when addressing an issue with your partner, when you use words like you always come late, you always forget, you always say this, or you never remember, you never think about me, whenever you have finality in your statements, there's a communication breach in that relationship. If you tell your son every time, you always lie to me, you never tell the truth. When there's finality in your communication in a relationship, it means that you are in a place where you have already given up and you have a fixed mindset about your partner. This is a dangerous sign because it shows that the road to redemption is becoming longer by the day. Why is it so? It is because the person you're telling you always feels judged by you. The person you tell you always feels judged by you. Then you, on the other hand, are coming with a fixed mindset that who will mkora. Now, this one is very dangerous because it actually kills the desire to change. It kills the desire to change. And I've always said this whenever I see couples in my office, I tell them every single time. I tell them, celebrate small victories. Celebrate small victories. If at all your husband comes home late every single day of the week, but on Thursday he came early. Separate Thursday, celebrate Thursday. Deal with Friday as a different day. The problem we have is that I've seen cases in my office where progress is made for 2 days. Maybe someone says I'll be coming home for dinner. They make progress for 2 days. So Monday, Tuesday, jamaa amefika. Wednesday, the guy fails. When they come to my office on that Wednesday or on a Thursday, you'll hear a statement like, he always comes late, or he never changes, or she never changes, she always does. So there's finality in the statement. When there's finality in a statement, you kill the desire in the other person to change. You demoralize them to come closer. You demoralize them to seek to be better towards you. They give up. They say, I am always this way. Especially if you talk to teenagers and use finality in your statements, you're baptizing them. They'll become that which you speak. So those are dangerous statements in any relationship. You always or you never. Ikifika hapo, it means there is judgment and there is assumption. That is bad for any conversation. Number 4, sorry. Number 4, this one is specifically men. Men have a problem with number 4. When you lie by omission. When you lie by omission. What is lying by omission? Lying by omission means this. It means that, and I'll give a very practical case of someone I was dealing with. This gentleman was being called, the wife called this gentleman and asked him, where are you? The guy said, I'm on my way home. And the wife asked him, who is in the car with you? He said, a colleague. Yes. Then ended the story there. So when they get home after a while, the wife realizes that this colleague left something in the car. And upon leaving something in the car, the wife realized that this was a lady. So the wife tells him, why are you carrying a lady in the car? And the guy goes, yeah, I said it was a colleague. But see, there's a point he failed to leave out. He failed to leave the point that I'm carrying a colleague in the car who is a lady. That information gap that was there showed something else, I know of people who have lied by, and it's very common, where you know that if I say the next statement, it's a dangerous statement. So I'm going to ignore that one and deliberately forget it. So siku kudanganya, I gave you a half truth, I said I was with my friend. Which friend? I didn't say the name, I saw someone who once saved a name on the phone and put a very nice name, and put a name Dr. So and so, and the name that was given there is a name that the wife was to assume that this is a gentleman. Until one time the wife realized that this person that my husband keeps on calling at night and talking to Anambia, I'm with Dr. So and so, it's a lady. Now that becomes a different discussion. Something bad had not happened, but it means that when you lie by omission, it means 1, you are already guilty. You're already feeling guilty. 2, you are deliberate to omit that thing, meaning you know the consequence, meaning there is fear. So there is guilt, there is fear in that relationship. This preset attitude, dear listener, is dangerous because you already anticipate that my partner will respond in a particular way, and I'd rather choose to ignore, to say this information, because I don't want to harbor the reaction that I'll get from them. Number 5, when you repay anger with anger or insult with insult. This is a recipe for disaster in any kind of relationship. When one of you comes with anger, the other one comes back with anger. When insults are treated like they are free, that is a dangerous sign. But your communication is a problem, yes, but anger and hatred and pain are predominant. You want vengeance no matter the cost. And number 6, before I go on this break, is when your speech is often too defensive. When your speech is often too defensive, this means that the general climate of the relationship is built on two simple principles: principle of attack and defend. Whenever you find someone you talk to is always defending themselves, before you accuse them for being defensive, take a step back and analyze your tone, your attitude, your demeanor when you speak to them. Because sana they are being attacked. Human beings defend themselves when they're being attacked. When you find that your son, your wife, your husband is always defending themselves, their conversation is always from a defense point of view, before you kill them for defending themselves, jite kamkutano sana, you are always on attack mode, dear listener. And that in its own right is a sign that communication has a problem in your relationship. After this very short break, I will finish with the remaining two, dear listener. Stay tuned to 88.3 FM. This is Radio Waumini. Dear listener, we continue with the second part of our reflection, and as we talk about the things, dear listener, that signs that there's a problem, that there's a communication problem in your relationship. We are on number 7. When you don't talk because you're afraid your opinion is wrong. When you don't talk because you're afraid that your opinion is wrong, dear listener. When that happens, this means this: but in the relationship, you're feeling belittled, you're feeling undermined, you're feeling put down. And when you're in a relationship with someone you feel put down or undermined, or that your mind does not work, this is a dangerous sign, because you can actually now be so afraid to talk in the relationship that you don't give ideas, you don't give suggestions, you don't contribute in anything. In other words, you become a passenger in the relationship. Unakuwa like, you're being carried through. And I've seen people being killed, and the ones who killed them complaining. Strange things in life, Someone is killed in a relationship, then the one who killed them complains and says, my partner does not contribute. My partner says nothing. But it's because every time they speak, you meet their suggestion with the word no. There's nothing as bad, dear listener, as when someone suggests something to you and your first response is no. Instead of telling them, how did you arrive to this? It's no. No, that's a bad one. Over time, people get tired and they just watch you. That's a sign, and they become passengers in the relationship. I've seen fathers who have stopped disciplining their children because every idea they had, they were told no. I've seen mothers who have done the same. I've seen mothers who have stopped investing in the house. I've seen fathers who have stopped investing in the house or coming up with ideas because, dear listener, of this particular issue, because someone is feeling put down. Number 8. When you or your partner cannot talk without being interrupted. Sasa hapa ndo nafanya yeke kambi. I should put my camp here. One of the basic rules in any relationship when you're communicating is allow the person to talk and finish. Allow the person to talk and finish. I don't understand why we like to interrupt. I never understand it. Someone is saying something, let them finish. When they finish, you have a better chance of responding with wisdom. If you interrupt them, there's a high chance you might be giving a solution to a problem that never existed. And there are people who block you based on that. Do you talk without being interrupted? Can you be patient to wait before being interrupted? Can you wait? Do you know how to listen without jumping in? If in a relationship you can't communicate freely without someone jumping in and cutting you off and suggesting, there's a problem then. There's a different problem there. It might mean 1, you are too impatient. 2, you don't think they have the capacity to think. 3, you think you know it all. And that is very dangerous. Meaning you want to jump in, you have a fixed mind on how things should be said and how they should be done. This one, over time, people stop talking to you because you never listen. And it's very common, I hear this every time between the children and their parents with their child saying, my dad never listens or my mom never listens. It is very common in many relationships where you don't talk from the beginning to the end. Umalize point yako. If it's a silly point, when you finish it, it's easy to know it was silly because I've allowed you to finish. If I stop you, I'll never know what you wanted to say. And lastly, when communication is a shouting contest. When communication is a shouting contest, in that who talks louder when we talk? It's a shouting match. When it becomes a shouting match, automatically, dear listener, the emotional space has been violated. It means there is a wall, there is a ridge, there is something bad between the two of you. So, dear listener, as I illustrated that communication in any relationship, dear listener, is a fruit. It is a fruit of an underlying problem. What I've pointed out, dear listener, is just a roadmap to check and see if I'm going through this in my relationship, then automatically there's another problem that I have. And we must look at that particular problem. So stay tuned to 80.3 FM. This is Waumini Soul Food. I'm Victor Salamba.